Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, so today we're going to talk about a topic that I think is very important. And as you can see, it is simple interest. All right, so you know that whenever you borrow money, you got to pay interest. So before we go over a few examples, there are certain things that I wanted to emphasize here. All right, principal is the amount of money that you borrow. The rate is however much percent that you're going to pay, and the time is how long it takes to you got to pay the money. All right, what I want to emphasize here is that time must be expressed as a year or a part of a year. So make sure you have this in your note as time must be expressed as year or a part of a year. So what do I mean by when I say a part of a year? So let's look at two examples. Example, if I say you pay $20 at 5% interest for 3 months, you have to express 3 months as a part of a year. How many months is there in a year? So I know that there is 12 months in a year, so it's going to be 3 months over 12 months. Or when I simplify that, it's going to be 1 over 4. All right. Now this 1 over 4, I'm going to have to change to a decimal. You have to change it to a decimal to solve it. So this is the same thing as 0.25 years. All right. So let's look at another example again. So if I say 7 months, all right, I know that 7 months is 7 over 12, all right? And with this, since I can't simplify this, I'm going to have to express this as a decimal, all right? So if I do 7 divided by 12, this is going to give me, so let's see, 7 divided by 12, this is going to give me 0.583, all right? Let's go, let's see if we have, example, 15 days. All right, how many days is there in a year? So we have 15 over 365, 365 days in a year. So we're going to express that. So 15 divided by 365 is going to give me 0.041. All right, and it goes on and on. All right, so this is how we have to express this. So let's look at a rate. All right, if I get 6.5% as a rate, I know that this is the same thing as 6.5%, right? If I want to change this to a decimal, I'm going to move it 1, 2, all right? So this becomes 0.065. Or simple being, I can just take this percent, and in your calculator you just type 6.5% or 6.5%. All right, or you can simply just multiply it by 100 or divide it by 100. Okay, so again, let's check this one. If I have 3.25%, this one is simple. I know it's going to be 3.25%. If I change this, I'm going to move my decimal place to 1, 2, so it becomes 0.0325. All right, so that's how you express this as a decimal. If we have 7%, if I move my decimal place twice, it's going to be 0.07. Okay, so these are important information that we need to know in order to solve these problems. Excuse me. All right, so let's look at number 1. All right, so it says Joyce deposits $900 in a savings account. The account pay an annual interest rate of 5.5%. She makes no other deposit or withdrawals. After 3 months, the interest is calculated. How much interest does she have on her money? So simple interest is equals to principal times rate times time. So interest is equals to 900 times rate. What's the rate? 5.5. 5.5% times the time. It says 3 months, so I'm going to express it as 3 over 12. All right, so this is equals to 900 times, I'm going to change this to a decimal, which is 0.055, because this is 5.5. Let me put it right here, 5.5%, okay? Times this expressed as a decimal, 3 divided by 12 is 0.025. Okay, so when I plug this into my calculator, I'm gonna get 12.37.5, but because we're dealing with money, I have to round this up to money, which is gonna be $12.38. So the amount of interest in the account is $12.38. Okay. All right. So let's look at a more difficult example. So here, Lena bank compute 4% interest on a daily basis. All right. She has 1,000 in her account for 10 days. So she makes a deposit of 16 and it's accounted in the account for 15 days, and then she withdraws 400. So as you read here, you realize that I have to solve 3 different problems or 3 different calculations. So the first one, interest for, or this says 10 days, is equals to 1,000 times the rate is 4% times 10 over 365. All right. So I'm gonna do this here, 1,000 times 0.04 times 10 divided by 365 is equals to 0.027. So if I do 1,000 times 0.04 times 0.027, I'm gonna get 1.08. All right, 1.08. All right. So now let's look at another example. And what you need to note here that I rounded my answer. All right. So as you can see on the calculator, I rounded my answer to 0.27. If you had kept this answer, then your number would be slightly off, like about 1.10. Okay. All right. So let's look at the next part now. It says she made a deposit of 600. That means she added an extra 600. So interest for 15 days is equals to 1,000, which was my original amount, plus this 600, okay, times the same 0.04, and this time it's going to be 15 over 365. So this is 1,600 times 0.04 times 15 divided by 365. I'm going to round it again to 0.041. So 1,600 times 0.4 times 0.41 is equals to, this time I get, so the first answer we get that, the second answer I'm gonna get 2.624, which is 2.62. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna go to the third part. So it says she withdraw $400. So interest this time, and this time they said it lasted for 6 days. For 6 days is equals to 1,600 minus 400 times 0.04 times 6 over 365. So this is 1200 times 0.04 times 6 divided by 365 is equals to 0.016. So I have 1200 times 04 times 0.016, and this is going to give me 0.768, which is 0.77. Okay, so now I can proceed to answer. It says, how much does she earn? So for me to calculate how much she earns, I'm just going to add all these interests here. So interest earned is equals to 1.08 plus 2.62 plus 0.77. So we have 1.08 plus 2.62 plus 0.77 is equals to 447. And then it asks you what is the amount in the account at the end. So we know that there's 1200. So all I'm going to do here is just, I'm going to say amount is equals to 1200 plus 447, which is equals to 1,204.47. This is my answer here. Okay, I know it's a lot, but this is what it is right here. All right. Okay, so let's look at our third and final example. Then I'm gonna assign you guys some problems to work on your own. Okay, so our third one is a little bit simpler. Third problem is a little bit simpler. So here it says that Victoria deposits $1,500 on a saving account. No other deposit or withdrawal were made. The amount paid interest is 2%. How much did she earn after 6 months? So interest is equals to 1,500 times 2% times 6 months over 12 months. Remember, you always express this as a part of a year. So this is equals to 1,500 times 0.02 times 6 divided by 12 is 0.5. And this is gonna give me 15. That's the answer. All right. Again, remember, you have to express your time in terms of as a fraction of a year, and you always change your rate to a decimal. Okay. All right. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm gonna post this video. I'm also gonna post an additional video that might help you. All right. Thank you.